Hi everyone, apologies for that. Sorry, I believe the stream quality is going to be slightly poor today. There we go. I'm going to keep talking and just get updates, so apologies for this. The Wi-Fi's been okay, but slightly dodgy here recently, so might be a reason for why. It's currently we have Indian Jesus at P1 on a 127.101. Behind him, it's a CRO 123, and Scott Lee running at the top 5 on the 28.6, but Indian Jesus has gone 4 tenths faster there, although he's derating now and on low fuel, so we went for back-to-back laps. A risky strategy certainly for the German driver, but as usual we see him out on top in qualifying, and I believe Zenon has also improved to a 28.70 from a 27.4 earlier, I believe. So yeah, good stuff from Zenon. These two were out on top last time in Belgium. They are not currently in the championship fight. Of course, Zenon currently in, I believe, P3. In the championship. P4 actually just behind Mars, so that's the second battle we have today. But arguably the most important battle would be with Bailiff. As we see, he's just gone P3 in the Alpine. He currently leads the championship on 309 points, and 34 points behind him sits Krago, who is currently on his outlap, about to start the first lap of the session. I just have a couple of issues to resolve it, so I'm going to let you go on board with Krago as he takes you around a lap of Bahrain. So we just saw Krago pulling off into the pits there. Unfortunate for the man's first lap, but of course he still has 9 minutes of the session to improve. I'd just like to apologise for the stream quality. There really isn't too much I can do about it right now. Just internet issues with the house. There's no reason for it. It's just completely sporadic. And honestly, in 2022, you'd expect the Wi-Fi standards to be a lot better, as CRC IV has gone into P15 on a 133.1. That is far from representative for Scott, and I'm sure he'll be able to improve. Let's have a look at how he does actually here, going round this Bahrain circuit, coming down into turn 4, braking just at the 100-meter board, maybe slightly afterwards, hugging all that apex, get into 4th gear, and he's completely round. Please don't DNF. And he loses his front wing. It looked like a very clean and tidy first sector for CRC IV there. The man who was in commentary with me last week, as he spins again. having a little merry-go-round here. Hope he's enjoying it. He doesn't want to go backwards, as we're not going to watch him for too much longer. We're going to go to Hedge, who accelerates out of turn 10 in the Mercedes car here. Of course, Hedgehog having recently moved down from tier 3 on the wheel, just getting adjusted to it. Not expecting too much of him, but a finish in the points especially would be fantastic for last season's tier 4 champion, as he goes slightly too wide at turn 12, and I think he hasn't validated his lap. But let's see if we can find anyone else. Ruban's done 3 laps on those tyres, which is interesting to say the least. I'm not sure if these tyres are going to be enjoying that too much. We're going to have a look at Indian Jesus now, coming down into turn 1. Goes into second gear, keeps it in second gear on the exit, and gets a nice run through turn 2. So he's off the curbs for the most part there. Of course, not going to spin is deceptively easy to do here. Applies a little bit of throttle into the entry of turn 10 and turn 4, and that does unstabilise his car a little bit. He's only 500s up. Greg Gabe Centre getting neatly out of the way there in the turn 5, 6 and 7 complex. Now Indian Jesus interior, turn 8, and he nails that short shift and gets onto the power early. He's going to sweep inside down to turn 10, hugs the inside curb again. That's lovely from Indian Jesus, and gets a brilliant exit. Really accomplished drive so far, by that little mistake at turn 4 from the German man, as he hugs the inside curb once again at turn 11, I believe that is, through the usually flat out turn 12. He doesn't want to get dirty air from Krago here. He might be getting a bit of a tow actually, if Krago is going to move out the... Oh dear. And that's not a good start for the championship protagonist there. Krago completely ignoring Indian Jesus and failing to get out of the way, and he has been caught as in 4K, as some might like to say. We're going to have a look at Zenon now, because he is the closest to Indian Jesus. He is coming down this back straight out of turn 13 now, powering through down to the exit of turn 14, the entry, sorry, and that looked pretty good. It looked like he took a lot of curve. We can't really see from this angle, and then goes up into P2 with a 126.9. Up ahead, I believe Bailiff is on a lap, as we didn't really see him there. Got a handy tow from Greg, I believe. Of course, he needs all the help he can get. The championship man, for his debut full season in Cone, the championship in tier 4 would be something that few are able to achieve, especially on their debut in any tier in Cone, really. As that was Wee Cammy goes up into P3. Good stuff from the Williams driver. Bailiff is 600 up with a 28.002 in the first sector. I can tell you that is pretty competitive from Bailiff, as he breaks now into turn 8. Pio gets a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Scott Gay. I'm not really sure what happens there. It seems to be a remarkably common feature of league racing these days. As Bailiff comes into turn 11 after powering through that back straight, although we can't really tell from the broadcast camera, it looks like a pretty accomplished run from the Alpine man so far, and he is 2.5 tenths up, is Bailiff. Let's go on board with him through this final sector, see if he can improve. Look like a good exit through turn 13 here. But now he has to make up that crucial last corner. Breaks it just about 80 metres there. Quite cautious, but hits the apex very nicely. And the DRS is open for Bailiff on the run to the line, and he does improve to a 127.008. Good stuff from Bailiff. But Indian Jesus and Zenon still arguably the dominant forces in qualifying today. Although that is left to change, could we see a big lap from Cyril Freefall, one of the only men who hasn't set a representative time as of yet today. Could we see a crowning performance from him in tier 4, face a lot of bad luck? Found himself, I'd argue, bottling his way out of a few podiums, although finding himself very unlucky in other circumstances. But let's see how Scott does. We're going to go on a lap with him down the back straight here. As Scott has the DRS open, just about reaching 200 miles an hour on his way down into turn 1, but it looks a little bit awkward for Scott, although he gets a nice exit to compensate for that. Full on the power there. Going to try and get as wide a line into turn 4, is he? Stays slightly on the track, although edges out a little bit at the end and gets into 4th gear on the throttle. Slightly cautious from Scott, of course. Yeah, it's only a 28.5. which I think he could do better than after watching his first sector when he spun on the last lap. The Maverick also retired at some point, so apologies for missing that. But free fall now, coming out of turn 8, sweeping through the flat out turn 9. Looks like he's taking quite a tight line into turn 10 here. Up at the third and gets on that exit curb, which can actually give you an advantage, although it does seem rather bumpy when you're doing it in real time. Now Scott goes out into turn 11, again not as wide as he might like on the entry. Out of 4th gear now, quite wide at turn 10. It hasn't been the best lap from free fall as he's done a 106.9, so that is some way off the times of the top runners here. But it still might be good enough to get up into that top 10 possibly. Maybe just ahead of MKP if the calculations are alright. Free fall now coming out of final corner, and he has set a 128.5, so he goes into P11. There's the Scott, and I fear that might... He has 3.5 laps of fuel in this car, so he might be looking to go again. Let's have a look at Farrell Fury now, who's coming across the line to start his lap here at the Sakir International Circuit. Breaks down into turn 1, sweeps into the apex. Oh, cuts all the way across that curve. That's very nice from Farrell. Farrell, of course, alongside Scott, has switched to the wheel this season for Tier 4. So it'd be interesting to see the level of improvement he can show. Had very good pace last week, of course, in Belgium. 700s down, though he is 2/10 up on Scott's first sector. It looked a little bit awkward through turn 4, maybe slightly too high in the gears. Keeps it in third. Through turn 8. It's very nice driving from Farrell Fury here. Oh, it sweeps into the apex of turn 10. A little bit cautious on the traction, but it's still good stuff from the Red Bull man. Ash JW pots himself up into P9. Of course, we are on the final runs. We're going to move away from Farrell and see Indian Jesus is a 10.5 up on his lap already. Let's see what else he can do, what other time he can find through this middle sector. Accelerates out of 2nd gear this time. And gets on the throttle nice and early. He's going to want Topher as Krago goes up into P2, and that could be a big lap from the Mercedes driver. Slightly, well, 2.5 tenths down on Indian Jesus, who might still improve, although he loses the car. I don't know how much fuel he's got left. I don't think enough to go on another lap. He's 600s down, but does he have time to find in that last sector? He's sending it all the way across the curb, and that is very nice from the German man, Indian Jesus, but he might have sacrificed the potential chance of the pole position here. Let's see how he does coming into the final corner, riding all that curve on the inside, and I don't know if this is going to be enough to improve from Indian Jesus as he swivels across the line, and I don't think it is yet. He's 800s down. Krago is not on another lap. Let's see what Zenon's doing now. He's accelerating out of turn 2nd gear, pole sitter last week in Belgium in the wet conditions by about 4/10. Cyril Zenon shifts up very early to 8th here for turn 4, breaks just after 100 metres. Goes slightly wide, it has to be said, and he gets a little snap of oversteer to compensate, but he's still 700s up. It's still been a very good sector for Zenon. Flat out through turns 5, 6 and 7, very nicely done from the young Brit. Keeps it in 3rd gear for turn 8, accelerates out nicely. Going to try and get a wide line for turn 10. Wee Cammy goes up into P2 with a formidable lap time of a 126.754. That is great stuff from the Williams man, showing great pace here today. Zenon now accelerating out of turn 10. This is looking like a very accomplished lap from the Alfa Romeo driver, but let's see if he can hold on. Breaks quite early for this corner, has to be said, but he's had a very nice exit as a trade-off for that. Let's see what his time is now coming through the middle sector. He's 2/10 up, but he's braked himself really badly. Kragon maybe acting as a bit of a distraction, though he wasn't blocking him like before. Again, Zenon shifts up very early. Wee Cammy has crashed out the session, but that won't really matter to him as he's in P4. Let's see what Zenon does. And it looks like a dodgy last corner as well a little bit. He did bounce over that curve a little bit too much, I believe. Let's see Zero Zenon across the line. He's only improved by 2,000ths. And he hasn't been able to get Kragot. Now let's see Bailiff. He wants to outqualify his rival. Indian Jesus has gone for a 126.6. He's improved by a 10th on those old tyres, although we will have to be starting on those from quite possibly pole position. Looking at this now, Harvey set his time at 27.1 on 4-lap old tyres, so a great lap for the Haas driver considering how old his tyres are. Bailiff accelerating into turn 11, looking good from the Alpine man. Let's see if he takes this corner wide. It's fairly tight, but it's 400ths down from Bailiff. See if he can find time in this last sector, and he has gone wide, and he doesn't really want to improve on this lap because he could get in trouble for it. If he does, let's see what the time is, of course. Pulls it out the final corner. And is he going to improve? No, he's not, fortunately for him. And I think the only car left is Ash JW, who sticks it into P8 nicely. So it is, once again, as we've said so often this season, Indian Jesus in pole position with a 126.6, which is a very quick time for these tier 4 guys, might I add. Wee Kami, I think this might be his best qualifying of the season, up in P2 as well. Krago, the only man who can stop Bailiff winning the championship, in P3. Zenon, or after he made a pretty crucial mistake on at turn 13 on his lap, losing at least a couple tenths, in P4. Bailiff sticks it into P5, and MUFC Harvey rounds out the third row in P6. Matt Rowney, aka Mar 14, in P7. Ash JW in 8th, got the lap in right at the end. Look, these guys have set their laps on, well, Indian Jesus 2 laps old, MUFC Harvey 4 laps old, and Ash on 3 lap old tyres in the top 10. So that might really hinder them off the start. I believe that was an Aston Martin 5th row with Ruban and Pio. As we see one of the Aston Martin cars sweeping through turn 8 nicely here. But that is our Bahrain GP qualifying. Pretty quick session. Apologies for the stream difficulties that we are suffering at the minute. Hopefully that will not hinder your experience too much. But out on top it's Indian Jesus, as I said. Kami, Krago, Zenon, Bailiff, Harvey, Mar, Ash JW, and an all Aston Martin 5th row, and Ruban and Pio. Although, well, which will hinder him and put Scott Gay into the top 10. Zero Freefall will start from P11, MKP P12, Ghost Angel 1 P13, Topher P14, Ariel Farrell Fury will start from P16 as PL gets relegated to P15. The Maverick at 31.1, I think slightly off what he would be able to do, judging by his pace in previous sessions this season. And Hedgehog was the only driver to not set a time down in P20. So a full grid here for Bahrain, and let's see how it winds up. Of course, it'll be interesting to see strategy here. It is possible, to my knowledge, to do a soft medium, but of course, not all these guys will necessarily know that. I certainly didn't in my first couple of races here on this game. And we will, well, I imagine a lot of the guys from the back will start at least on the medium tyre, maybe even on the hard tyre, opting for a slightly slower pace off the start, but durability over raw speed as their priority. Of course, the top 10 will all have to start on softs, as everyone in the grid actually qualified on the soft tyre. But of course, we have to see as the viewers are racking up. Apologies for the potato stream. My mum's using the Wi-Fi. Well, it's not even her fault, it's just BT's fault, because our Wi-Fi box is a myth. So apologies for that. Please do message me privately, as I'm not really able to read chat, although I'll have a quick look now, see if anyone's showing their support. Come on, Bailiff, come on, Krago. Yeah, of course, Bailiff does, all he needs to do here is so I'll just give you a little rundown of the permutations as we go through these final few seconds and delve into the formation lap. So Bailiff is currently 34 points clear at the top of the championship, and that means if he finishes either P10 or P11 with the fastest lap, the championship will be over on points. I believe if Bailiff finishes P11, then I think he has more wins than Krago this season, although I'm not 100% sure. Whichever driver who has more wins will progress, will win the championship. So, but that assumes Bailiff is P11 and Krago is up in P1. That is exactly what he needs to do this race. If he fails to do so, the only place, well, if Bailiff DNF'd or finished outside the points and Krago got the fastest lap and P2, then that would also mean level on points and a tiebreaker needed. I'm just going to have a quick look now at who's won more races this season. I'm just going to have a look at tyres as well. I'll let you guys digest that and then I'll commentate myself. So, what's interesting is if Krago won today, and assuming he does win, it would be 4-4, I believe, in terms of wins this season. So these guys really neck and neck throughout. although Crago had a bit of a late resurgence, put his name in the ring, whereas Bailiff had a really strong start. As CRC IV has been disqualified in the session, that's unfortunate for him. He's going to have slightly cold soft tyres, although they are new, which will play into his hand a little bit. Just in front of him is Scott Gay starting on the hard tyre, one of two drivers on the hard, including Maverick, the Maverick 33, the Greek man in the AlphaTauri, starting from P17. He failed to finish the session. He'll be starting on the hard tyres today, so maybe looking for a hard, soft, aggressive strategy at the end, hoping for a late safety car. Of course, safety cars at this track are far from rare, far from scarce, and there's a lot of disqualifications as Topher, Pio and Farrell Fury all get reset back onto the grid. Not great for them. Not quite sure what happened there, as we see Indian Jesus is just lining up on his grid slot as we speak, passing the pit wall as the cars proceed now. Of course, I forgot to mention, Topher and Pio are starting on the softs, going for an aggressive strategy off the start rather than durability, and the rest of the guys, so MKP, Ghost Angel, Funny Oz, Chimp, Gray's Game Center and Hedgehog in the bottom three are all on the medians. But now getting ready to go here, Indian Jesus, not necessarily renowned for his prowess off the line. Maybe we could see a jump from Cammy if he can get that pad traction working for him. But all the guys are ready now, and it looks like we're here for this Bahrain Grand Prix. It's 4 lights, 5 red lights here ahead of the drivers, and it's lights out and away we go. Slightly delayed, I think, from my end, but Indian Jesus looks like he's got the line well. It's already overtaken Zenon. Crago with a nightmare start. He's got down to P5 and he's been overtaken by his championship rival Bailiff. Cyril Zenon, sorry, goes into P2. It looks like a move on the outs inside from Cammy gets ahead of Zenon, and up ahead I think we have spins as Crago is round, I believe, and that's a disaster for Crago on his championship bid. He is round, as is Ash JW. These guys have had a huge incident at the start, and Crago now with a long way to fight back here. But up ahead we can't delve away from the action too much, as Cammy next to Indian Jesus. Indian Jesus just about gets ahead through the turn 5 and 6 and 7 complex. Zenon close on the tail of that Williams car. Cyril Freefall's already got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Farrell has a 5-second penalty. I'm not too sure why. It looks like we have action in the back. Scott has gone down into P18. I'm not sure, does he have damage? Yes, he's lost his front right end plate, and that is not good for the Red Bull driver. He will have to look to get back in this race, maybe through some slightly luckier means, as he trickles through, it has to be said, turn 10. Crago, I'm not sure if he has damage. It doesn't look like he does from the broadcast camera, but you can't be too sure. But yes, Indian Jesus now out in front. Cammy struggling a little bit, peels over to the right, arguing possibly to break the slipstream, as Zenon's now getting very close to him. He's just 1/10 behind. We're going to go to the interval. Zenon actually attacks Cammy in the back a little bit, slightly misses his braking point. And all this is doing is aiding Indian Jesus. I can tell Zenon really wants to get by here. Both drivers, well, Cammy uses the ERS. I think Zenon's been slightly clever with it, as he's going to look to the outside now. Oh, and he goes around the outside. Cammy seems to outbrake himself. I'm not really sure what happened there, as Harvey's, and you can see from Zenon's car that Harvey has no front right end plate, but he's still fighting it out. He was caught up in a collision there off the start. Bailiff screening both of these guys now. 4 cars have gone into the pits. Topher, Ghost Angel 1 and both Red Bulls having a double stack as well. Really not good for them, as Bailiff's gone very wide. I'm not sure, does he have damage? No, I don't believe so. But out in front, Indian Jesus, these interactions between Cammy and Zenon, interactions to say the least, really heavy collisions, have given Indian Jesus about a second and a half on this lap, and he's well out of the DRS zone, so it could be a long way back for the fighting cars at this minute. Also, Bailiff slightly struggling to stay within the DRS of the 2-car train of Cammy and Zenon. He's going to have to push hard to get back there and ensure, of course, Bailiff is only aim today. If he finishes in the top 10, it is absolutely over without a doubt, no matter what Crago does. And when you consider that Crago is currently in P16 after a spin, it looks like a long way back for the driver, but no, to some very, very consistent performances this season. Never count Crago out. That is what I will be saying until the checkered flag falls today in Bahrain. But out in front, Indian Jesus, his lead's been slightly eaten into by Cammy. Now it's 2.1 seconds. I think Zenon is going to go through. He's going to look at the outside again. Cammy not having any of it, and the two guys as Zenon bounces over that inside curve. That's not something you want to do, of course. If the damage level was a bit higher, we could see the Alfa Romeo struggling with some floor damage after that, as DRS is now enabled, of course. and Cammy stays out in front for now, though I imagine that will change hands at some point. Meanwhile, Bailiff has got his way back into that train, but we're just going to go a bit further down. Scott Gale on the back of Ruban, SJW very close to MKP, one of the reserves, one of two reserves today in the Alfa Romeo, as that is Harvey, PO and Crago actually comes out of the pit, so he might be going for a one stop on the hard tyre. Obviously MUFC Harvey getting very out of shape on those fresh mediums out of the pits. But yeah, Crago on the hards, he's going to have to go high risk today, because if he doesn't, he's going to find himself in, or he hits the curb very aggressively. He's going to find himself without any chance of winning after this unfortunate start. Meanwhile, Bailiff, Indian Jesus has cleared him by another 2 seconds. I'm not quite sure what was happening there, and I think Zenon's gone round. Apologies for missing that. I was just discussing the permutation of the championship. I believe Zenon's now got dropped all the way back down to P7 and finds himself behind the fast starting Scott Gale on the hard tyre. So that's not good for Zenon, as he now, yeah, he's about 10 seconds off the lead. The flying lead of Indian Jesus, now Bailiff, and yeah, there must have been an incident between these two that I didn't catch, but Bailiff now out in P2 doing all he needs for the minute, but Cammy, I believe he's had to stop twice already after sustaining damage on the first lap, so unfortunate for Scott. Maybe not his day today, but if he can unlock himself, then who knows what could happen. It's only 4 laps in, long race, so keep your head up, Scott. Meanwhile, Zenon's going to look for a move on Wuban. They break it around the same point. Zenon gets a little bit, his elbows out onto the outside curb, and Ruban is forced to yield. A clean and good move from Zenon as he looks to make his way back up into the grid, back up the grid. Of course, he needs to, he's in his own fight for P3 today, finding himself just 8 points adrift of Mar in P3, but Mar actually in front of him. So in the higher positions, it's just really a case of who finishes first, who can stay out of trouble, and so far the only one of the two drivers who's been able to do that is Mar in the Ferrari, rocking that number 8 as we see him go through turn 11 very nicely. Meanwhile, Indian Jesus seems to be extending that gap, although not with as much pace as we saw earlier. It's stagnated around between 4.3 to 4.7 seconds as 034 extends track limits by 10 seconds, and I'm not really sure what's happened to Scott here. It's very unfortunate for him. I think he might have just spent a long time on track. I don't know if he has damage, of course. It doesn't look like he does, but yeah, it's not a good day for the Red Bull man. But he is going to stay out here, keep fighting on, as is in Scott's nature, so well done to him. Meanwhile, Wee Cammy, he's gone into the pits early, and I don't believe that, is that for a wing change? It is, yes. Wee Cammy sustained some damage, possibly with the contact with Zenon, but he now goes on to the medium tyre, and I presume he's going to go for the 2-stop, because I think it would be very hard, as he's not releasing from the pits. I know he is, it's just desync. So he's a yellow flag out there, and that is Farrell Fury, I believe, and he is round at turn 13. Unfortunately for the Irishman, after showing great pace in some points this season. Yeah, not good for Red Bull and their pledge to they're pledging the Constructors' Championship this season, of course, in P5 to 33 points behind Williams and 56 behind the Haas team. So, sorry, 46 behind the Haas team. So a good week for Red Bull, and other divisions could see them jump the 2 outfits, but this has not gone too well at all for the boys in Tier 4, and they find themselves trailing at the back. One of them already lapped. I mean, yeah, the gaps in this field are really extended. Bailiff now at 5 seconds from Indian Jesus. Indian Jesus, as usual, showing that fantastic pace, as that is, I believe, a Haas car and is MEFC Harvey. I think, yeah, he's gone round at turn 5, 6 and 7, and what was a great start for the British driver has been made very unfortunate, pushed out the train after sustaining wing damage, I believe, on the first lap. But it's not good for Harvey today, as we find him down in P18, but fingers crossed he can try and get back up. Of course, a safety car, as I mentioned earlier, can never be counted out here in Bahrain, so if the boys can get back in a train, anything could really happen. But right now we have what seems to be a fairly uneventful race for the minute, but we're only 6 laps in. Don't tune out, however horrible the quality of the stream may be, as we have, yeah, only, well, Farrell Fury's in within range of MEFC Harvey, but otherwise we have just, well, now no cars within DRS range of each other. Tier 4 boys choosing to spread themselves out today. But yeah, Indian Jesus leads by 5.4 seconds from Bailiff, from Mar in P3, a further 4.5 seconds behind him. We're going to have a look at this now actually, because Zenon is getting close to the back of Mar, although he's very low on ERS. He's clearly been pushing hard to recover from that earlier mishap. Mar, on the contrary, on 55% of ERS roughly. Very healthy battery remaining for the Ferrari driver. Same can't be said about the man in the Alfa Romeo just behind him. Zenon seems to be tends to shift up very early. I'm not sure if that's a method to save fuel. I'm not sure if it's just a general mistake in his driving, or something he knows that we don't. Who knows? But Zenon is now going to get the DRS open, and he's going to look to make the move on Mark, not using his ERS. Perhaps trying to save it for later, as he believes this will be a fairly simple move, and Mar does indeed tuck in the DRS of his podcast in the Ferrari family. But Mar, what he needs to do, and what that exit didn't help him with, is sticking with Zenon. As if Zenon clears him, then it could be a long way back for the Brits. I'm just going to have a little look, as I do not know this current point system too well. Apologies for that. But as it stands, Mar will finish 3 points ahead of Zenon in the Drivers' Championship. So right now Mar does not really have to fight the Alfa Romeo. He just has to focus on not driving behind the likes of Scott Gay and Willie Van on undercut. Well, Scott Gay will definitely go for a massive overcut, as he is on the hard tyres looking for the one stop. Whether he'll go on the mediums or the hards, that is yet to be seen. But yeah, for now, all these guys still out. Indian Jesus has extended that gap to 6.6 seconds. At that pace, yeah, he's the second faster than the rest of the field, fastest lap-wise, so really impressive stuff from Indian Jesus. But of course, as we saw in Abu Dhabi, perhaps most notoriously, that pace can all be for nothing at times, as he did spin coming out of the hairpin there. Hopefully we won't see any similar mishaps today though. Gonna have a look. Mar has actually fallen out of Zenon's DRS, and he's going for an undercut now. So let's see what tyre he's going on to. From what I can see, is that it's the yellow compound, yeah, the yellow medium compound tyres goes onto the Ferrari of Mar here, as he's going to drop down the order. He's going for a big undercut. Of course, the mediums will have a lot more grip. The fresh mediums will have a lot more grip than the worn softs at the minute. Is he going to come out in traffic? I think he's just going to be ahead of. Is that wee Cammy, who also undercut, had to change his wing. So Cammy gets out ahead of Mar. I believe Mar was running in about P6 or P7 when Cammy stopped. So Cammy's had a good few outlaps here, but he does need to make up some more ground if he wants to challenge the likes of Bailiff and Zenon further up top. Indian Jesus out in the lead still. See are there any battles. Maverick's getting quite close to the McLaren of Funny Oz Chim, and Chim has a moment coming out turn 10. Is Maverick going to look for a move here? Locking his brakes a little bit coming into turn 10. Of course, this track a bit of a paradise for the ABS users. In contrast, those who have got the anti-lock brakes turned off will can find themselves disadvantaged at some point, as we see Maverick heavily locking up through turn 11. But of course, in the case of a spin, those brakes will come in very handy, as Indian Jesus now comes into the pits, and it looks like, is he going for, is that the medium tyres? Yes, it is the medium tyres from Indian Jesus. I'm curious to whether these guys are going to go for a one stop. I know that MFDs certainly won't be advising them to go for that, and they will, Jeff will definitely be telling them to stop again throughout the race. But maybe these guys think they can overcome the perceived lack of durability of these medium tyres and make it the remaining 20 laps to the end of the race. Bailiff staying out a bit longer. He's already 7/10 down on his personal best, showing that these soft tyres really don't have too much grip, as he gets all out of shape coming through turn 5, 6 and 7 here. Let's see if there is anyone close. Maverick did get past Chimp on the main straight, but this battle, I assume, is far from done, as we see Maverick catching a bit of smoke, putting it in straight into Chimp's visor, as both cars go very wide for turn 5, 6 and 7. Chimp having to lift a little bit to avoid getting on that curb, that deadly curb. Well, likes of MFC Harvey have already been victims to that corner. Curb can just bounce you out if you take a little bit too much of it, so you have to be careful there. You see Ma is now on the back of Hedgehog as PO retires from the session. Could that be a safety car? Let's see. I think for now we've got nothing. Looks like, as I was mentioning, commentator's curse just out the exit of 5, 6 and 7 there. As we look over to the left, yes, that is an Aston Martin caught in the wall as Bailiff comes into the pits. That would have been absolutely ideal for him, a safety car there. But no biscuit for the Alp. He just wants to finish in the top 10 and secure that championship that he arguably deserves more than anyone this season. Although both him and Craggle would be very deserved winners. Going to go on board with Chimp here, and they're actually going to come out in a 3-wide situation here. Is Chimp in a McLaren? Is he going to go for an opportunistic move? Oh, it's a brilliant move from Chimp. He's gone straight down the middle and goes up into P2 on DRS, but Bailiff is going to look and strike back at him. He's got all that ERS saving his car from the earlier stints, but brakes very early. And I don't think he wants to go down inside. He's still got his ERS activated. He lifted, he didn't even brake, he lifted very early. And CRC free fall, as we can see, is off on the right. He's now racing with Zen and his Bailiff, and that was very close. Bailiff just kind of understeered into that corner and needs to get his ERS off for certain. But inches away from contact and a disaster for the championship leader. As we're going to see Zen now, is he going to go? He brakes, so he doesn't want to go down the inside of Chimp, but now he sends it anyway. Not really sure what's happened there. Chimp goes very wide. Bailiff's going to look on the inside. This is great racing between the 3 drivers, but I just hope it doesn't end in contact. Bailiff's going to look on the outside. He's going to have to be careful here. The guys are going to go 3 wide. Bailiff's going to break the latest. Chimp backs out, but he's going to go for a little switchback on Zenon. And has he got the move? He's got the move done. Chimp with a bit of an overtaking masterclass this lap, but is Zenon going to have a look out the inside? That's risky. But he gets a stop, puts it down into second, a very low gear for that corner, but now he's going to go and try and get the exit here. Down on the back straight, Cammy lurking around in the background as well. These guys are fighting tooth and nail. His Zenon goes down the inside. Did he get the DRS as well? Both cars got the DRS on Bailiff, of course, but now they are out of that range. Let's see who comes in. It's Cammy. He's got no ERS to play with. Been pushing so hard in his out laps. We see the red indicator on the bottom left here. Is Cammy going to go down the inside? That could be risky. No, he steers right into the middle of the track just before to avoid contact. It looks like Zenant has the lead, but what he does not have is a DRS. Chimp has had a slightly awkward exit though, and it looks like Zenant should be safe. Great racing between these guys. Of course, Tier 4 renowned. Maybe as a player, Haven for not the cleanest racing, but these guys have proven those assumptions wrong. But now Chimp needs to focus on staying in the DRS. Of course, he's on much older tyres than Zenant here. Cammy lifts to try and stay away from the Aiden McLaren, who's understeering a lot through that section. I've noticed it on previous laps as well. Gonna have a look at Indian Jesus and Scott Gay. Of course, Scott Gay probably not doing too much to aid the German driver's cause here. But is he going to let him through? I think he is. So Scott Gay lets Indian Jesus through, not wanting to fight on his old tyres. He knows his race is not with the Ferrari man, and he needs to try and extend those hard tyres. Maybe try and stick in the DRS of the of Indian Jesus's Ferrari. But well, who knows? Has he got it now? He does have it. So Scott Gay maybe looking to follow along and never get too close to overtake. But I fear that the pace of the German will be a little bit too much for the later laps, as MKP, running from P3 on the medium tyres, gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. That's really unfortunate for him, and it will not be removed at this stop. So he's going to have to bear that burden for the rest of the race, assuming there isn't a safety car as he goes onto the hard tyres, the only man on fresh hards in this grid. There's a yellow flag here. I believe that is Ghost Angel Run. Yes, he's round at turn 12. Again, a very easy spinning zone for the veteran driver, and unfortunate for him running down in P18. Of course, only one DNF today, so looks very good from a racing standpoint for these guys. And we have a spin. I believe that is Ash. Ash at turn 1 has gone completely off the track, breaks the Pirelli boards in anger here. What Williams ran, we saw win in Abu Dhabi a few rounds ago. Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened to him. It might have been a collision with Topher, the reserve driver. Of course, it's not ideal for reserve to be getting in collisions, although I can't draw any conclusions. But Ash lost 9 seconds on that stint. So it might have even been with the likes of Crago, who has not covered himself in glory today, racing-wise, after that incident with Indian Jesus in quali. Meanwhile, Chimp and Ma are going at it. Ma lost a lot of time on that undercut, which is not something you'd necessarily expect. from the driver, from such a experienced driver, and now Chimp is having a fight with him. Maybe Mar picked up some damage. He was definitely held up in the traffic, that's for sure. So there's a lot of ERS to play with compared to the likes of Cammy and Zen, and so he's going to need to utilise that for full effect. At the moment, just looking at the championship, Zen running in P4, Mark running in P6. I believe there would be a 6-point swing, so Mark would still have the third place in the championship, which he definitely wants, but the jury's still out on whether he can attain that. Of course, with Chimp, I was about to say ploughing him from behind, pressuring him from behind would be the better phrase, although I think he's just dropped out the DRS with that understeer, customary understeer at turns 5, 6 and 7. Otherwise we have a train of Greg's Game Center, Hedgehog and Wuban. Wuban pushing on the fresher medium tyres on a bit of an overcut from the other guys, and it hasn't worked out too favourably for him. But yeah, Greg and Hedgehog sticking out on the mediums. Hedgehog running a very nice race in P9 for someone who's just transitioning to the wheel input. Or it looks like Wuban's going to have a good run on him now. Is he going to go down the inside here? No, he's not. He lifts off and lets Hedgehog go through, perhaps wisely, from the Aston Martin. British driver representing the quintessentially British team here, you could argue, as he's very tactical, lifting in unusual places from Wuban, hopefully looking to get a run on these two, although he gets a little bit out of shape, well, very out of shape coming out of turn 13. But now he has got just a 6/10 gap to Greg, although he goes very wide coming out of the last corner. I feel that could have been a warning, as he gets a very good exit in comparison to Hedgehog's exit, which was not too great for the Merc. But now Hedgehog is going to get that ERS and DRS, excuse me. Oh, when Wuban pulls out to the right dramatically, goes for a move, no contact made. Is he going to go around the outside? And CRC IV was retired, but it's in the pits, so we're not going to see a safety car. And that is very unfortunate for Scott. Looked like he'd had a well, it looked like he had a lot of pace coming into this race. Started P11, had a lot of potential, but the start and a couple of stops at the end really did hinder him. And it's yeah, well, not the best of days for the Scotsman to round it off in Tier 4, but I know he's going to be working hard over the summer, trying to get his pace up and maybe look in a higher tier, have a look in the higher tiers next season. It's yet to be seen, but unfortunately for Scott, and commiserations go out to him as he joins PO in the well, only 2 cars who DNF today. Up front, Indy Jesus has a commanding lead, and without mishaps or a spin or a safety car, it's absolutely set to win this race. But well, never count out the nature of this track to throw something up when you least expect it. Of course, safety car can come out from anywhere up to lap 27. So we've got a lot of laps of racing to see what happens there. Bailiff currently in the position to win the championship in P3, 2.2 seconds clear of Zenon, who's on slightly older tyres as well, which is only to the Alpine's benefit. Crago and Grace Game Centre now having a little fight. Sorry, not Crago and Grace Game Centre. It's Hedgehog and Grace Game Centre. The Alpine having a look up to the Mercedes here. It doesn't look like he'll be able to go down the inside of that corner. No, it doesn't. Hedge takes a little bit of that inside curve. That could be awkward for him. And up there, there's an Aston Martin spun on his Wuban. So Wuban, having cleared the 2 cars in front of him, has now got to do all that work again, and possibly a bit of wing damage. It looked like he was very close to the wall, the Aston Martin man. So yeah, just 2 laps after we were following him, Wuban's had a mishap of his own, and I believe he did have that incident on his own. Meanwhile, there's a huge battle going up here. Is that Crago around? No, it's Hedgehog. Oh, it's so unfortunate for Hedgehog, who was running a brilliant race. Up in P8. Oh, poor Hedge. Spins at turn 10. Has he got damage? I'm not too sure. It looks like he's turning in alright. But yeah, no, there's a lot of cars up here. Crago now getting through both guys as Grace Game Centre looks to challenge him on the old and medium compound. Those tyres going to be, well, nearly screaming out, it has to be said, for Greg here. Medium tyres, very not so durable at this track. although overheating isn't too much of a problem here. But yeah, Greg is going to stay in that DRS. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for a move now, or if he stops, maybe he'll look for the medium hard strategy. Well, he's definitely not stopping here. Gets the DRS on Craggle. Craggle's going to want to get as far away as he can from this train. Of course, he still needs to win this race or finish P2 with the fastest lap. And right now, well, as time ticks on, that's looking increasingly unlikely. But what he has to do is get himself in a position where someone else's misfortune or a safety car could aid him. And to do that, he needs to get away from these guys, and he certainly has. MKP is going to go for a move on, I believe this is debut in Cone Tier 4 here. He's having a very nice race up in P9. Of course, got that 5-second spare penalty for speeding on his shoulders. But with only 2 cars close to him, it'll be interesting to see if he can try and capitalise on the pace that he clearly has and get away from these guys, as Greg's already fallen out of the DRS range, which is less than ideal. Speaking of penalties, so we've got Chimp in P7, who has he hasn't stopped on a 3-second penalty. MKP and Ruban both on 5 seconds, as is Topher, and SJW and the Maverick on 3-second penalties, 17 laps into the race, so very clean stuff from these guys. Meanwhile, is that Scott Gay? Scott Gay's coming to the pits now. It'll be interesting to see what tyre he puts on. Got very long the Haas driver, had a very nice stint, very clean, no penalties for now, and he's going to put on the medium tyres. Arguably he could have stretched those out a little bit longer and gone for the softs, but I can see the benefit, because the softs do wear out very fast at this track and pace does deteriorate to a significant extent. But Scott now coming out of the pits, it looks like is he going to get out ahead of Chimp? I'm not too sure. It looks like Scott Gay is just going to get out ahead of Chimp on the fresh mediums, and hopefully he's going to pull away into the distance. So very good race for the Haas car, but he does have to finish a job here. Hopefully maybe even catch up to Mark. Got much fresher tyres. Yeah, good stuff from Scott today, and I think he's probably, other than Chimp, well, few drivers haven't stopped. Chimp, Greg and Hedgehog haven't stopped at all in this race, and Farrell or MSC Harvey's just coming to the pits now, and Topher as well on the medium tyres have stopped close to the start due to respective mishaps that they had off the line. While Indian Jesus leads this race by 12.8 seconds now from Bailiff. That gap has just gone up and up since the medium stint. Indian Jesus only had to deal with 1 car, whereas Bailiff's had a lot of guys to get through, and now Indian Jesus also, I believe, does he have the fastest lap at the minute? He does. So if he's not challenged by a soft runner potentially trying to nick an extra point, then Indian Jesus will have done a clean sweep today. Of course, that is assuming that he gets to the line in one piece and in that lead position. Meanwhile, Bailiff, as I said earlier, doing enough he needs to do to win the championship. In P2, very good stuff from him right now. Craggo down in P8 on the hard tyres after that early mishap. It's been a very good recovery from Craggo, it has to be said. But of course, one, he has to make sure that he gets those tyres to the end. Otherwise, he really has no chance of getting a win in this race. Of course, strange things have happened, and he is well away from. Well, he's nowhere near being lapped, so that's definitely going to be a source of minor hope for him as we near the conclusion of both this race and the Tier 4 season. Got movements between Maverick and Hedgehog. Looks like Hedgehog might have recovered, might have had a spin there. Well, he's got the DRS of Maverick, so I'm not too sure he would have. I mean, with Farrell Fury looking behind in that last points position, just 1 point for P15 in this league with the different point system we have here at Cone. And these guys fighting it out, well, for the minor points, but I can tell you, seeing Hedgehog receive points today would be absolutely fantastic after the effort he's putting on the wheel to improve his pace. But he just needs to get to the line now. But yeah, it would be a very fitting end to arguably very difficult season for the Tier 4 champion of Season 5. Of course, moving up to Tier 3, slightly struggling with the pace jump there, and then coming back down here, having to adjust to the wheel. It's not been easy, but he's done very well, and to see him get a point would be absolutely brilliant. And right now he's on to do that even after another stop. Indian Jesus out in front. Zen is actually getting very close to Bailiff now. Just a second away. So is he going to be in DRS? Zenon, of course, showed a lot of good pace in qualifying, slightly messed up his last lap, could have even had a shout for the front row or even pole. Could the British driver, as he brakes very late for turn 10 and has to accelerate out wide, and that's not going to help him at all. And he falls out of that second gap to Bailiff here. Just excuse me for a minute. Hello again. Apologies for that slight intermission, but looks like nothing too significant has changed. We're going to go down to Wuban and Chimp, as these guys, of course, Wuban with slightly more penalties, but Chimp, we're not going to see a race here as Chimp pulls into the pits. Is he going to go onto the soft tyre and look to have some blistering pace at the end? It certainly looks like he is, as we look at the mechanics putting up there. He's also going to get a wing change. So Chimp, he had front wing damage for potentially a very long time, and so yeah, he's had some very good pace and raced very well today. That move between two cars, perhaps a highlight, and he's just going to be jumped by Ash JW, who's gone onto the medium tyre actually for the final stint of this race. These guys down in P15 and 16, so not ideal for them, but with any luck they could see an incident up front and either a car or multiple cars DNFing, or even a safety car. Wouldn't we love that to round off the season in Tier 4 in classic Tier 4 fashion? Meanwhile, Zenon is well in at DRS, recovered from that early mistake at turn 10, and is just 6 tenths down to Bailiff now, showing very good paces. Zenon, Bailiff's going to come into the pits, and I'm not really sure why. Did he have wing damage? They're going to put on another set of the medium compound tyres. They're not changing his wing. I'm not really sure why that's happened. I think it might be to make sure that he doesn't have to race anyone on track. That's the only logic I could find. I mean, he's still well in a good position, although he's going to come up very near to Scott Gay, it has to be said. Could it be a bit of a risk? I'm going to have to ask him why he's boxed, if indeed he does. We'll interview the winning driver, whatever, today. So yeah, well now Indian Jesus dominates by a 13.6 second gap. Mark down in P3. I'm just going to check the point system here. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, there might be a tie. No, so Mark would still claim that that championship position. I don't know. I think Bailiff stopping there has rather aided Zenon, although if Bailiff does catch up to Mar, that would be revoked. But yeah, because if there's if Zenon finishes in P2 and Mar in P4, then it goes down to then Zenon gets into P2. So I don't know. I don't really know why Bailiff stopped. I'm going to have to ask him later. But now he's nearly cleared Scott Gay from the DRS, although not quite. So Scott is going to have DRS down this main straight, and we're going to have to see what happens here. See, Scott's applying the ERS, so he's going to go for a move. Bailiff also using his ERS. Scott very low on the battery front and pushed very hard that lap as well, so it doesn't look like we're going to see a move here. And indeed we don't, from the Haas car, who's running a very nice race in P5, sorry. Bailiff's actually getting a second on that straight, so I do feel like he's going to have a lot more pace than Matt Rowney on the is he surely hasn't gone for an undercut on Zenon. I wouldn't think so. I think it'd be far too late in the race to go for a Lewis Hamilton style overcut on the Alfa Romeo driver, but who knows. Of course, Bailiffs, you can experiment a bit right now as long as he keeps the car on track with his championship rival Craggo down in P6. On those hard tyres that he's worked very hard to keep going from basically the start of the race. Cammy's also stopped onto the soft tyre. Although he does have a 3-second penalty behind him as we ran running in P8 after that earlier spin, so a decent recovery for the Aston Martin, but he has 8 seconds of pens, a 5-second penalty for speeding, and 3 seconds, and I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Indian Jesus has gone into the pits. Is he gone onto the softs to try and secure the fastest lap? But Indian Jesus is booked. Zenon is out in front. Did he get a wing change? I need to have a look there. I don't think he did, but these guys are both stopping, and I think Indian Jesus and Bailiff indeed might have thought they couldn't have made it to the end on the medium tyres. I was not expecting that, but yeah, Bailiff sets the fastest lap now. Indian Jesus has stopped onto the softs, and now he's going to have to try and push to get past Zenon. Of course, this is brilliant for Zenon. Mars also gone into the pits, so again, he doesn't feel like he can make those medium tyres last, and he's down in P8. So he's going to need a mighty recovery here, is the Ferrari man, because Zenon is currently out in the lead of the race. Is he going to go for a stop himself? If I was Zenon, I'd definitely try and extend those medium tyres, because unless they're in punchy territory, this could be a potential win for him. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Indian Jesus does indeed catch up, considering the pace that the soft tyres do give you at this track. No, he's not gaining that much. Anyway, Craggo is having a go at Cammy. Craggo on 19-lap-old softs, and Cammy on 19-lap-old hards. Cammy on 1-lap-old softs. So Craggo's doing a brilliant job to stay with him here. Of course, there's a few unexpected twists have been taking place in this race. Zenon is staying out. Going to look to try and get. Well, yeah, he's going to look to try and keep that P1, although it will be very difficult for him. He's coming up to the lap car of Ghost Angel 1. So you have a look at Wuban as he just go on board with him, and he outbrakes himself very heavily, but Chimp looks like he had a little wiggle coming out of turn 10. Wuban are completely fresh soft tyres now. Chimp on 2 laps is a big difference in the soft tyres on this track, due to the rate of deterioration, and also the difference in grip as Bailiff gets a 3-second time penalty. It's been less than ideal for the British driver, though he does have a 4.4 second gap to Scott, who's on slightly older mediums. So shouldn't be of too much concern to him, as Indian Jesus has gained about 2.5 seconds this lap on Zenon. Ghost Angel also, I believe, spun, and although Zenon has DRS for this straight, he's not going to have it for any more, so Indian Jesus still looks well on his way to win this race on the 2-stop. Right now, even if he doesn't win, Zenon is still going to be, though it looks like he's very low on fuel, so that could be a cause for concern. Zenon still could be is in the position to beat Matt Rowley to P3 here, as MKP is usurped by both Craggo and Mar here. Craggo's lost 9 seconds to Cammy on those soft tyres in such a short space of time. Indian Jesus sets the fastest lap, rather unsurprisingly, and is now nearly in that DRS range of Zenon. And I dare say by the time they go around next lap, Zenon goes very wide out, breaks himself significantly, and Indian Jesus is now going to get on the exit, get on the power. He does not have DRS for this straight, but I'm not sure if that's going to bother him. Zenon goes all the way to the inside, might be futile, it has to be said. And the Brit doing everything he can to stop the German from overtaking him, but it seems like it's just going to be a matter of time for the Alfa Romeo car to lose out here. Is he going to go for a send? No, he's not. Indian Jesus playing it cautious. Zenon drifts into the middle of the corner, arguably to go for some defence. Civ tactics here, but Indian Jesus is still well within that DRS range, and he gets a very nice run coming out of turn 10 here. Gets his foot firmly planted to the power. He's not going to go for the move here, but it looks like we'll see something on the main stage. We're going to go to Craggo now, who's still staying within Mars' DRS range. Very good stuff from Craggo. Of course, he needs to do everything he can, however futile it may be here. But there's only a few laps left, so without a Bailiff DNF, it looks like Bailiff does have this championship absolutely wrapped up as a gift there. Great drive from the Alpine once again. But now we're going to turn our attention to the two guys who've arguably been on top of this division in the latter stages, getting podiums in the last two races. Indian Jesus, derating he may be, but he still swoops into the lead and passes Zenon on those considerably older medium tyres. Zenon, it's just a case of preservation. If he can make it to the end without getting a puncture, he has indeed secured that P2 in the championship. And we can have a look at Hedgehog and Greg. They've been battling valiantly away, and right now it looks like Hedge is on for... He's currently on for I think P9. Sorry, not P9. Don't know what I'm on about. P13. If he can stay within that 6-second gap. If Harvey as Ghost Angel retires from the session, that is not a safety car, is it? I don't think it is. So Ghost Angel crashed out on the at turn 5, 6 and 7 in almost the exact place in a millimetre where PO suffered the same misfortune. So yeah, unlucky for the AlphaTauri driver today. He was not in any particular position to score points, but I'm sure he would have liked to end it this Tier 4 season with a race finish. Meanwhile, Indian Jesus has extended his gap to 1.5 seconds over Zenon out of that DRS range now, and it should not be a problem for the German to the end of this race. Bailiff still in championship winning position here on those medium tyres in the Alpine in P3, very comfortable. Just 8 seconds between him and the nearest car. He's in a bit of a race of his own right now. Lonely as it might be, I'm sure he won't mind too much here, as he is well on course to win this championship. Indian Jesus pushing out in front of Zenon, just a 3 second gap. That's almost double in about 4 corners. So yeah, the fantastic pace of Indian Jesus shining through once again here. Now look at Wuban, he's getting very close to the back of Ash, because Ash is on the medium tyres, whereas Wuban is rocking the soft compound, just 2 laps old, and he's going to need to get this move done if he has any chance of getting ahead of Ash for that P9 position, as he has 5 seconds more than him. They both pull out very wide. Wuban even getting a little bit closer to the wall, I dare say, but Ash goes to defend the inside, but it is futile, and Wuban gets that position, breaks very deep into turn 2 to secure it, and now he has to push to get 5 seconds on the Williams car of Ash, which might be difficult, but on those soft tyres nothing is really impossible, as we've seen many times throughout this current season in many different races. But Indian Jesus now extending this gap to 5 seconds. He is absolutely flying and has deserved this race win if he can secure it. That is a very big if still. Still 2 laps to go, still 28 more corners for the German to navigate, and then he is home and dry. But 28 corners is a lot of time, might I add. Zenon in P2, Bailiff in P3, Scott Gay P4, Wee Cammy's done well in P5. I believe that penalty is only 3 seconds, so shouldn't affect him. Maverick retires from the session. That is not good for the AlphaTauri. He already had 6 seconds of penalties, and it's got even worse for him here. But yeah, it's a real shame for Maverick. And he leaves the session in anger, unfortunately for him. That's AMC Harvey, he spun on lap 27, that's really unfortunate for the Haas driver here. And I think he has damage as well, looking at his turn, and yeah, it looks like he lost his front wing. Oh, he has. So, the only real hope for Harvey, well, he's going to get lapped if he goes into the pits. So, that's an unfortunate end for Harvey's season. He's not going to finish this on any points, barring a DNF from another driver, as he's going to try and stay out with no front wing. That is a valiant effort. He needs to keep a 3.3 second gap from Topher, which I imagine is not going to be doable. But yeah, great to see guys going for it in the way that Harvey is right now. Indian Jesus rounding the first corner for the final time in this current Tier 4 season, and what could have been a championship for him taken away by Bailiff in Austria after that unfortunate collision between the two drivers. It's still going to be a very good, well, he's shown his pace brilliantly, and I would be shocked if he was not to move up from this division next season, as he gets close to Tofren, who's just passed MEFC Harvey. Meanwhile, Zenon behind about 9.7 seconds, been a valiant effort from him as well. Done very well, and he has secured that P3 in the championship, so I imagine he is buzzing with that. Bailiff down in P3, our season champion as it stands, and it is, well, it's an impossibility for Krakow to win this race now, so I can tell you we are looking at the Tier 4 champion of this season. Of course, that will be confirmed when he crosses the line. Scott Gay down in P4, started at P10 on the hard tyres. He made that undercut work to perfection as we have a yellow flag. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Farrell Fury? He's ghosted and he's run out of fuel. So, not ideal for Farrell here. But we're now going to focus, as he gets a 10 seconds penalty for exceeding track limits. We're going to focus on Indian Jesus now, who's come across the line to win this late by double-digit figures here. And he lifts off and he wins this Bahrain Grand Prix. A perfect drive from the German, and that is exactly what he needed to silence any doubts that he will not be in a higher division this season. Cyril Zenon secures P3 in the championship. That is a great job from him. P2 making those mediums work, doing something that no other driver could today. But Bailiff, he crosses the line and he wins the Tier 4 championship this season. Congratulations to the British man. He outshone everyone on the grid this season, including his son of all people, and his consistency throughout has meant he is champion. Scott Gay rounds off a very impressive evening's proceedings in P4. Wee Cammy finishes in P5. Mar will be disappointed he could not hold on to that P3 at the pace of Zen, improving too much for Mar to handle, and he might be regretting boxing onto those soft tyres. Krago, P7, he finishes in P2 this season. Great work from him nonetheless. Very unfortunate start for him today, and any hopes are really quashed considering there weren't any safety cars, and Bailiff drove a pretty comfortable race in P3. MKP, very good debut in P8. AshJW in P9. Got ahead of Ruben in the end. Those penalties were too much for the Aston Martin driver to deal with. Funny on ship in P11, but Hedge has secured points. That is fantastic to see. Hedgehog comes across the line in P12, finishes his first race on wheel, and that is an absolutely fitting end to the season for Hedge. Really proud of him today. So great work from the Brit. Topher rounds off in P13, gets points as a reserve or just his second or third race this season. Good work from him. Greg is going to finish in P14, and we're going to watch Farrah Fury trundle home, overtake the already finished car of Indian Jesus in low fuel mode to finish off. It's been a good season for Farrell, transitioning onto the wheel, of course. It hasn't been his finest of moments today, but he's going to get a solitary point, would you believe it, if he can make it to the line within 52 seconds, and I can confirm he has. And that rounds off this evening's proceedings. Well done to all the drivers today, and particular congratulations to Bailiff, who we'll be speaking to in a matter of minutes. So we'll just wait for Zenon to join the party, boys. And we'll get cracking. Here he is. So here we have the podium, the same podium that I interviewed back in Jeddah a few weeks ago, if any of you remember that, and in the same order as well. So congratulations to Indian Jesus for winning the race, Zenon in P2 and securing P3 in the championship, and our P3 finisher for today and World Drivers' Championship winner of Tier 4, Bailiff 3. We will come to you last, mate. We're going to start off with Zenon. So congratulations for today, mate. Tell me how you feel about securing P3 in the championship. Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch you develop and progress as the season's gone on, mate. So I've got one question to ask you about the strategy. That was impressive long stint on the mediums. Were you planning to do that when you came in onto the medium tyres in lap 9 or lap 10, I believe? Were you planning to stick it out for that long, or when you saw Indian Jesus box, did you think, oh, I'm just going to send it here and try and make these tyres last, because you did a very good job? Yep. Yeah, it's
Sorry
good
to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, guys. Zenon, you can't be heard on stream.
I'll give you, well, do you know how to fix that, mate? Okay, well, I'll give you, if you try and get it fixed, I'll give it you a quick summary of what Zenon told me. So he said he's really pleased with his performance today. He wasn't expecting to do the one stop, but when he saw Indian Jesus box first, he knew the undercut might work on the mediums, and then he decided to stay out once he saw Indian Jesus box once again to try and stick it out and secure the podium and secure P3 in the championship. And also we spoke about his development and progression and pace he's shown throughout the season, although the consistency might be slightly lacking, but hopefully we will see that next season. Have you got it all sorted for us, mate, so I can ask my last question? Alright, if we could get some guys in the Tier 4 chat confirming that, please. That'd be great. So I'm just going to ask you about your if you're going to be racing next season. Really hope you are, and what your aims are. Are you aiming to move up one tier, maybe even two? What your thoughts for the season ahead, mate? I still can't hear you, mate. I'll yeah, it must be an issue. I don't know if it's an issue on my end. I'll just have a I don't think it should be an issue on my end, mate, unless the stream is messing up. I'll just have a...
I think last week as well, Ben, I think when we were being interviewed, we were really quiet.
That might have... Alright, mate. Just trying to get that sorted for you. I'll turn your volumes up. So probably seems like it might be on my side. Okay. So we're gonna apparently everyone can be heard, and you guys are both on max volume for now. So we're gonna go to our race winner today, Indian Jesus, and hopefully we can actually hear him for this interview. Are you all here, mate? So hello, mate. So I'm gonna absolutely brilliant performance today. I can hear myself speak. Sorry. Oh, it's. He's. Sorry about this, guys. Topher said he could hear Bailiff, so I wasn't worried about it. It's raw racing. Can you hear it, Zenon? No, can't hear any Jesus either, it's just Topher. You sure you have your voice shared? I'll give it a try.
For my voice to be shared.
Ah, that's probably a problem then, mate. Well, if Bailiff could be heard, I assume it's probably a problem on your side, then, mate. Okay.
Yes.
So my question for you today, mate. So well, congratulations on the race win and the dominant pace you showed today. Do you think that you could have made any improvements on your qualifying lap? Because I definitely saw. I won't ask you to go into too much detail about the incident with Krago, but if you could give us a little summary of your qualifying today, because you did get pole, but not by as much as we've seen you take it in other points of the season.
Yeah, so initially my first lap was not good, and I went for another hot lap right after that. Obviously I had low ERS and my fuel almost ran out, so that was my banker lap, and then I had an issue with Krago on my second flying lap, my second run, where he blocked me, and I could have improved there, but yeah, in general I was not happy. That was a horrible qualifying, but in the end, luckily I still got pole position, which was very crucial when looking at the race start.
Yeah, so did you always have the two-stop in mind? Because I saw you stop onto the softs. I was expecting, well, I kind of forgot that you guys had stopped quite early onto the mediums. Did you ever have any doubts in your mind about the strategy? Because Zenon indeed did make it work on the one stop onto the mediums when at the same time that you pitted. But were you always intending to go for that two-stop strategy?
Yeah, so initially I was practicing doing a one-stop. The issue was I was starting on a tire set which I had 2 hot laps on, so there was quite a bit of tire wear on that already. And then I just pitted early just to keep P1 in the beginning, and I could have finished on the mediums, I'm pretty sure, but I just wanted to go for fastest lap, get that extra point, and have fun.
And yeah, you got fastest lap by about 2.5 seconds, which was impressive to say the least.
Yeah, that is quite something. But no, I think in the end I had a look, and I think some other guys were also posting very quick times. Yeah, but it's always nice to have that extra point.
So,
and of course, I also want to say congratulations to Bailiff for winning the championship. Well done, mate. You've been so consistent. You've been so fast. So you really deserve it.
Cheers, buddy.
So I'm gonna ask you now the same question as I asked Zenon. What are your aspirations for next season? Because obviously we saw some blistering pace, particularly in the second half of the season, as you really adapted to that wheel. What tier do you reckon you want to see yourself in? Maybe turning off some assists, maybe even going. I'd say tier 2 is a solid shout. Maybe even looking for the depths of tier 1. I mean, what do you think, mate? You've got a whole game to improve.
So I think it's very hard hard to say yet because next game is going to be very different from the mechanics, especially apparently in low-speed corners, which I have struggled a lot already in this game. I mean, as far as assists go, there's not much to turn off. There is the racing man in corners and ABS, which I'll have to see whether it makes sense, whether I can, still maintain my pace somewhat. But, next season I'm just going to look at being consistent, because I think this season I had the pace to fight up there, but I would just, made some silly mistakes, and whatever tier I'll be in next season, I just want to fight again for the championship, fight for race wins, and have fun in the first place.
I'm sure we're going to see you up there, mate. Some amazing pace shown throughout the season. And yeah, I mean, obviously the championship position that you might not have wanted coming into the start, but it's still been formidable throughout. So congratulations to you, mate.
Thank you very much.
If you just give me a second, we're going to go to our championship winner, the man himself, Bailiff 3. So yeah, talk us through your feelings as you crossed that line, mate. How did it feel? Because it looked like an easy drive. I'm sure very nervous at points for you, but yeah, how did you feel when you took that checker flag in P3?
I could breathe again. No, throughout the whole race I was very nervous. I dropped in and out of a party chat with the team, with my teammate, and I was just like, I need to just settle down here. And then I made a couple of little mistakes, and I thought, I need to just calm it. I know where my positions were. My teammate was telling me everything about Craig and where he was, so I've got to give it out to Greg as well for today. But yeah, it's nice to. I didn't expect to be here at the start of the season. Didn't expect to be battling for the championship at all. Just being my first full season with CRL. I just want to say thank you to all the CRL admins, the bosses, AJ, Nathan. Brilliant league, can't fault it, and I'll just roll on till next season and see how we get on.
Yeah, it was great to see, mate. I have to ask you, because there's not much to ask you about the race today. It was a very clean drive from you, even though, as you said, a couple mistakes there, here and there, but it was, yeah, very good to see you so cool in a high pressure situation. But I'm going to ask you now, what do you reckon, if you could choose one highlight for the season, because it's been a great season, what would you say it is?
I wouldn't say the 4 DNFs I've had, definitely not. I don't know, probably digging in and doing a bit more testing beforehand each round, and starting to learn a bit more strategy and about setup as well. But no, I really don't know, really. I'd probably say my Brazil one was quite good, because I just held the pace quite well at the front. Held my son off. Unfortunately, he's not in the league at the moment. You know why.
Don't worry about it.
Even just to stay with Indian Jesus, considering the pace he's pulled in towards the end of the season, it's absolutely phenomenal. So GG to you, Jesus. But yeah, I've got a couple of little highlights that I'll probably remember, but I'm just settling down now, relaxing with a beer.
Yeah, well earned, mate. Maybe not a beer for your son, for, well, not as good a season, not. And yeah, he's pretty young, so good for you though, mate. I've just got one final question to ask you, and it's the same as the other two. What are your aspirations for next season? Because you saw great consistency, especially for your first time in CRL. I mean, I remember my first few races in CRL; they were the most nerve-wracking things, and I was about 15 places off where you were in the championship back then. So it's not an easy thing to do for sure. And so yeah, what are your aspirations for next season? Looking for a tier 3, maybe even a tier 2 placement? Are you going to be racing? Just talk us through it, mate.
Yeah, I'll be racing. I'll be back next season. I'd like to go to tier 2, but I don't think I'm quite there. I'd rather be mid pack towards the front in tier 3, battling for wins, than sitting at the back in tier 2. I know it doesn't work like that, but that would be the preferred option. Yeah, I'd definitely be back. It's clean racing. Some of them are. So you do see some every move every now and again, which is a bit poor, but you're going to get that. It's racing, you know. So you just got to take that on the chin, and away you go. Just sneakily saying though, I will be putting in a little report for you, Zenon, unfortunately.
Ooh, cheeky.
What do you mean?
Nice overtake on me on the yellow flags. Thanks for that.
What
Oh, here we go. We're gonna cut off the stream here before these guys get into a fight. But yeah, congratulations to Bailiff, and also a shout out to. Oh, go on.
No, I just want to say thank you for doing comms this season, along with all the other guys that have jumped in on it. Thanks to head admin Scotty, well ran as always, even though sometimes he does throw it in the pan. But yeah,
sometimes
thank you to everyone in CRL, every admin, all the guys that work behind the scenes and that. So thanks for a great season, and roll on the next one.
It's much appreciated, mate, and thank you for giving us such an entertaining season. I'd say in here we've arguably got the three drivers who progressed the most throughout the season, so it was really great to see you guys do so well. But yeah, as I said, we're gonna drop off before Zen and then Bailiff get into a little post-season fight. But yeah, congratulations to the guys in here. Commiserations to Craigo as well. Drove a brilliant season. Really great late resurgence from him. And unfortunately, things didn't pan out for him today. But I'm sure we'll see him back next season. Veteran in this league, and hopefully it will see him go for that championship crown in whatever tier he ends up in. So yeah, congratulations to you three guys and everyone who participated throughout the CRC IV season 6 here. It's been brilliant to watch you guys develop, and I will see you on next season. Thank you very much. As the